despite his background, despite the fact he owes taxes. Because MSNBC/NBC, they have no standards for their quote-unquote journalists. None. And that proves it. Are we done with this clip? Yeah, I'm done with it for now. Yeah. So what is it that is it restricted to Ferguson, Missouri? Wilson wasn't indicted. Distrust of the police departments. Well, there's a lot of distrust in this country, Mr. Holder. There's millions and millions of people who distrust you. There's millions and millions of people who distrust this president. There's millions and millions of people who distrust Congress. So what? So what? Have they ever spoken about the Tea Party this way? In such polite, social terms? There's millions of people in this country that distrust centralized, overbearing, big government. And we really need to work with our politicians and our departments and agencies to address that. No. They call us teabaggers. They call us right-wingers. They call us extremists. We have to be crushed. Nobody's ever lifted a finger. Nobody's committed any violence, but it doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because it's we the people. And we're the target of all of this. And you turn on the television before Thanksgiving, you see Al Sharpton, the lowest of the lowlives. Now, I want to remind you of who Eric Holder and Barack Obama are. Now, I don't have enough hours on this program or enough days in the month to do an extensive This Is Your Life on either of these men. But just a little taste from our friend J. Christian Adams of PJ Media. He said, today Holder announced that a federal criminal investigation will be ongoing. Holder's barely telling the truth. Here's some news, and remember, he worked in the Civil Rights Division. Here's some news that I suspect the mainstream media will ignore. My sources familiar with what's happening on the ground in Ferguson say Justice Department criminal section lawyers have been encamped in Missouri. Nevertheless, sources familiar with the federal process say federal charges are very unlikely due to lack of evidence of a crime by Officer Darren Wilson. Oh, shucks! Yet Holder will maintain the charade that federal civil rights charges might yet come. Maintaining the pretense of an expensive investigation is another dual message, just like calling for calm while stoking the protests. Prolonging the promise of a federal indictment against Officer Wilson keeps the folks energized on the side of the administration. Obama will use their anger, for example, to implement anti-police policies at the Justice Department while he outlasts the short memories of the protesters. After all, the people firebombing the AutoZone probably don't spend much time watching cable news. Now, this is the same game Eric Holder has played with George Zimmerman the last 2 years. Activists like the new Black Panthers hold out hope that Zimmerman will eventually face federal civil rights charges. Meanwhile, sources with direct knowledge have told me the FBI agents have repeatedly told FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General Eric Holder there is no federal rights case to be made against Zimmerman.